If everyone will please take their seat, then we will begin. At this time, the candidates will proceed to their seats, first tier, followed by second tier. Led by Theodore Johnson, one of our moderators, and our committee person, Mr. Cecil Smith. This is his area of responsibility.
How are you?
Good, yourself? Good.
You can pass the mics along. Sometimes people like to stand. They did an excellent job because it is beyond tight up here. Good evening. My name is Marilyn Thomas Jones, and I am the Director of Community Engagement for Start Community Foundation. I have been with the foundation for 22 years, and this evening is an example of my responsibility. I was hired to design their Neighborhood Partnership Grant Program many, many years ago. On behalf of Start Community Foundation and our President and Chief Executive Officer, Mark Samovic, welcome. We are glad to be hosting this event. Start Community Foundation sponsors, i.e. pays for every aspect of this event, which we give in an effort to make sure that the neighborhood associations can share with the candidates who hope that they will vote for them information about their neighborhood associations. We have many more neighborhood associations than are represented in this room. However, this entire event is planned by a volunteer committee, and we listen to them because that is what we were intending to do many years ago, and they want to keep everything in this room. I do want to share a little bit about our declaration of neighborhood roles, rights, and responsibilities. And I will not read the entire document, only 2 paragraphs. As neighborhood people, we have the right to self-determination and empowerment, to be advised of and consulted on public policies and initiatives and private initiatives affecting our neighborhoods, to have our neighborhood values, culture, and history recognized and respected, and to have the authority to establish neighborhood associations that will work to steward expected change that honors tradition and stability. As participants in the Start Community Foundation's Neighborhood Leadership Council, we have access to funds via the Neighborhood Partnership Grants, provided we meet all of their requirements. Further, as neighborhood people, we will endeavor to work collaboratively to make decisions which foster the common good of both our neighborhood and that of the entire city. We ask that the actions of all neighborhood residents, volunteer organizations, government entities, businesses, and philanthropic organizations be guided by the principles of inclusion, equity, participation, accountability, and respect. And the Star Community Foundation has awarded more than $2.8 million to grassroots neighborhood associations. And with that, welcome. And we will call this meeting to order. Will you please stand, as difficult as it may be from this vantage point, for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the Star-Spangled Banner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, where so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, through fresh lights and bright stars, through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, while bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Please be seated. At this time, I would like to introduce our moderators for this evening. Mr. Theodore Johnson from the Affairs of the Community Neighborhood Association. Mr. Martin Zawacki from Harrison Hills Neighborhood Association. Ms. Monica Maya is a timer. She is from Georgia State Neighborhood Association. And Patricia Howard Tyner from the Southwest Association of Neighbors. The event committee members are in the room and out in the hall. The committee members who planned this entire event: Sylvia Allison, Lois Ellis, Patricia Howard, Theodore Johnson, Monica Miles, Cecil Smith, Priscilla Strong, Marcia Zawacki, Marty Zawacki. Please give them a round of applause. And every other month, we have members who are elected by our Neighborhood Leadership Council to participate in the Mayor's Neighborhood Commission. And those members, if you can stand when I call your name, and they represent all four quadrants of the city. Patricia Sylvia Weston, who is our chairperson. Deborah Burke. Greg Conrad, Theodore Johnson, Mary Greenwood, and Jim Wolford. And now, without further ado, I would like to turn the program over to our moderators, who will be working with our panelists. And I do want to tell you, each member on the panel has a little sign that says, please speak directly into the mic. So the mics will have to be shared and passed, but when it is your turn, please speak directly into the mic. So with that, I turn it over to our moderators.
Good evening, and thank you for coming. You will be, when addressed, given a minute, but then to introduce yourselves and make comments about yourself to the community here. And then you will be asked a question. The question will give you 2 minutes to answer that question. And I wish you the best of luck. I think that I was talking particularly to people in Board of Education positions, and I was talking to you about that thing I read in the paper yesterday about the school territory transfer. There will be no question. But if you have something to impart to the community about that, I'm confused, I'm sure everything's going to. So thank you very much. We're going to start.
Hello, Mr. Garmo. How are you? Would you please introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this great opportunity. My name is Jacqueline Garmo, and I am a lifelong resident of Stark County. I spent 31 years in public education, completing terms as teacher, as high school principal, as assistant superintendent, and superintendent. We had a tremendous team, and we rebuilt the Plain Local School District. Beyond that, I've spent the last 12 years as a small business owner, starting a consulting group called Hill Eugene LLC, and we help schools, we help higher ed, K-12, businesses, organizations in the visioning, design, and innovative strategy process. I also have spent time on many philanthropic boards in the community, and I like to pretty much join any effort that helps build a stronger community.
Thank you. My question for you is, what are the current challenges facing education/school boards?
The current challenges are probably well known by everyone in this room. We begin, of course, with funding, which has been very, very difficult in the state of Ohio ever since they found our form of education unconstitutional. We have not yet righted that ship. The other issues that are more contemporary, we've all dealt with in a very, very severe way in Stark County these last several years, and that's with the health and safety, mental wellness, and being of our young people. Those are issues that need constant support, a lot of resources, and all of us to pull together as a community. Our moderator mentioned that there is a new House bill, so I think that is a new challenge for all of us. And that House Bill 66 that you saw on the front of your Sunday paper is a confusing bill, and they're still trying to figure out, it's poorly written. But I think what should be in all of our attention is the fact that this bill was purposely added to the budget bill without testimony or debate in completely non-transparent fashion during the revisioning process of the budget. And this bill would allow people to change school districts without going through the state appropriate process that oversees what is in the best interest of students and school districts and how we are as a healthy community. We fought this process as a part of Plain Local Schools several years back, and were supported by the state because they felt that not allowing these kind of transfers was in the best interest of students. This one was done, and according to Mr. Olsager, he would not even disclose the author of the legislation or who sponsored the bill in the first place. So this is something that will need our attention, and we will need to talk to our legislators about where we go from here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Ms. Olson, how are you this evening?
I'm just fine.
Thank you for coming. And will you introduce yourself, please? Then I'll give you
Hi. My name is Mary Olson. I'm currently a member of the governing board of the ESC, Stark County Educational Service Center. I was originally in my neighborhood in Lake Township, where my 3 children graduated from the Lake School. Wanted to become more involved in my community, as you are. And so I ran for the Lake School Board. and was elected for the first 4 years, and then re-elected again for the next 4 years, but I only completed half of it, 2 years, because I have found an opening at the Stark County Educational Service Center. I've often wondered, what does this service organization do? They serve all 17 of our public schools in Stark County. What do they do? What do the people do? How did we get into this? Well, it does, well, overwhelmed me, I will say that, when I got elected to the board and found out all of the things that they do.
Your question, Ms. Wilson, is how would you close the achievement gap in education? How would you close the achievement gap in education?
We have been doing this, trying to do this for many, many years. How do we do this? We have been trying to do it with training, getting our teachers in service so that they are abreast with the latest research, what has been successful in other school systems. And we have, according to Columbus, all of these mandates that we must meet, and it keeps getting higher and higher every year. So what I have to say about that is that we keep trying. I was at a school bus banquet 2 nights ago and ran across some school bus quotes. And one of them at the very end was, school bus drivers drive their students to their future. So in order to drive the student to their future, we have to do better in the classroom. But we need a cooperative, collaborative move in this direction with the parents, the teacher, the coaches, the family members, the community, and that's what I think is important. I also want to add to her comment about this bill. I am not happy with that bill. When people can say, I don't like to be in this community, I want to move to that other community where I will be able to get more money for my house. I know you're not going to ask questions on that, but that just came to me at the last board meeting a few weeks ago. And that is fraught with all kinds of problems. What do we do with the levy money? Well, we're going to have to divide it between the old school district with the new school district. This is just a movement that I just cannot approve of. I just do not like it.
Thank you very much. And I know this, I popped this on you kind of like in the last minute. You guys are doing a great job. Ms. Brown. Oh, sorry.
Hello, Ms. Brown.
Hello.
Would you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Kim Brown. People can't see me on this podium. I have grown up through the Kansas City School District, born and raised here, went to Bowling Green State University, came back to Canton, then moved out of town for a few more years. Came back to Canton once we had the opportunity to find employment here. Then I spent 30 years with the state of Ohio, Veteran Disabilities, reviewing policies, procedures, observing individuals, talking with people, all while raising my children and working in my community, volunteering throughout the community. I've been doing that since I've been back since 1989. I'm working right now with the heat department, the Stark County Community Action Agency, and I will continue to work for my community because I love the city of Canton and its people.
Thank you. My question for you is, why do you think we have a problem retaining teachers?
I'm sorry?
Why do you think this area has trouble retaining teachers?
I'm not sure that this area is, with the same demographics and other areas are paying the same amount of money for that, the same rate of pay. I also have concerns about whether the teachers believe that they're getting the be involved in what happens with them.
Thank you.
Mr. Dillard, are you there?
I'm here. Hello, I'm Mark Miller, and my mother, she was a nurse from the adult education in Kansas City. She raised 2 Trojans and 1 rebellious bulldog. And so, you know, I was well acquainted with Kansas City schools. Went off, served in the Navy for 11 years. Came back the last 3 years. I was a recruiter for Kansas City. And even in that short time period of about 7 years where I was gone, there was a lot of change. You know, so though you may be acquainted with the district, you know, I went to Washington Elementary School. There is no Washington Elementary School, and that was a short time ago. So there's been a lot of changes, but I've been serving my community since then. I've been working for Social Security since I got out of the Navy. We can all talk later. It's been a pleasure to be able to serve this community in the past 2 years in the capacity of the Board of Education, and I just hope that 4 more years.
Well, your question is, why do you think the Kansas City Schools is doing so badly that it is near to being taken over by the state?
I believe that there were challenges with the report card in general. Number one, we don't know what the rules are. You know, how can you imagine a child if we were to give them the same report card and at the beginning of the 9 weeks they're tested on something and they have the rubric laid out, and then at the end of the 9 weeks we've changed the rubric, and that's exactly what the state has done with us. You don't even know exactly what you're being tested on, what you're being measured on year to year. So the first thing that we had to do is we had to look at where we had shortcomings. We saw chronic absenteeism. We saw some low-hanging fruit, a couple things that we could latch onto. But honestly, it was very hard for us to know that we were running towards the goalpost because the goalpost moves year after year. So I believe that was one of our struggles, but you can't really take that and say, yes, it's unfair, and we're not going to try. You know, so we tried. We did our hard work. We did the things that we could do to move the needle, and we were able to have success. We went from an F, which was the failing grade. If we had had 2 more Fs, we would have been under House Bill 70 taken over by the state. We have, in fact, received a D, which gives us 1 more year of sovereignty for us to be able to look and make changes towards the future. So that's what got us here. And what's going to get us out, number one, is just engaging the community, engaging those employees that know what needs to be done. Figure out how we can align that to what they see in the classroom, and I believe that we'll see continuous improvement. We're not done yet. The D is not good enough, but we've saved it off for 1 more year.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Resnick. How are you? Would you please introduce yourself?
I am Eric Resnick, and I'm currently the Vice President of Kansas City Schools Board of Education. I'm finishing my 6th year of service on the board. It's been the honor of my life, and I'm honored also to have all of you here this evening to listen to what we have to say. I talked 4 years ago when I ran for this position about some things that needed to happen in the Kansas City School District. I talked about academic performance as we were staring down House Bill 7. I talked about the culture and climate, which includes student conduct, as we were not in good shape. I talked about the State House, the Ohio State House's hostility toward public school districts and how that impacts our district. And I'm happy to report to you as a public official that 4 years later, we have improved on just about all of those.
Okay. My question for you is, what do you think the responsibilities of what do you see as the board's roles and responsibilities?
Well, thank you. The Board of Education really has 3 statutory responsibilities. We hire and evaluate the superintendent and the treasurer. We set district policy, budgets. That's our statutory duty. Beyond that, culture and climate begins in the board. The district is led from the top down, and not necessarily the bottom up. I want to talk about that in a minute because I think that that's an area where we're doing much better. Thanks to my colleague, Mr. Dillard, coming on the board, we hired the most qualified superintendent that this district has had in a very long time when we hired Dr. Jeff Graham. And what a difference it makes. He's an experienced educator, he's been a classroom teacher, and he gets how the education pieces fit together. And suddenly, our teachers and principals feel better and have confidence again. Suddenly, the climate, the culture of the whole district is starting to improve. And as Mr. Dillard said, we're not happy with the deed, but we as a board have worked hard. We as a board have delivered on most of the promises that I made you 4 years ago, and things are going better. We have stopped the hemorrhaging. We are no longer in an academic freefall. We are no longer losing 10% of our best and brightest teachers and principals to other districts every year because they're tired of doing business with us. Those days are over. Now we need you as a community to continue to have faith in us, to continue to get better, because I know we will, because the leadership team is now exactly the leadership team that this community deserves. And if you want to talk about the transfer law, I'll talk after.
Thank you.
Ms. Glass-Freeman, how are you doing this evening?
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you for asking. Can you hear me? Tell us about yourself and your
I'm Ida Ross Freeman. I have 2 biological boys and 2 adopted sons. I work in the community a lot of time for free. I help people transitioning from prison. I have a prison program that I work with. I work in grief. I connect people in our community who have went everywhere else to get services but couldn't. I help them. I worked for the state of Ohio for 30 years. I'm retired from the state of Ohio, and I was considered a correction social worker. Okay? So, I'm trying to do the best I can in the community to help people. I want to leave Canton, and I do love Canton. I wouldn't be here.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. Why do you feel we seem to have forgotten the children and families' education? What is your remedy to fix this?
I don't think there's any magic word that you can say that will fix it. It's really complex if you think about it. I mean, there's parent issues, there's school issues, there's the board education issue. I think we need to learn to work better together. It's like one is over here and the other one's over here and then we're working together. We need to come up out of these silos and work together for the betterment of our children. Our children need us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am having trouble with your name.
Everybody has that.
I know the person's Christian. How do you pronounce your last name?
I am Kristen Bates Aylward.
Okay, you introduced your name. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank the Start Community Foundation and all of the neighborhood associations for hosting this event. I usually am on the other side because I've always been active in my neighborhood associations, first Ridgewood and now Vernon. But it's my pleasure to be here with all of you, many friends friends that I see. I am your current acting law director for the city of Canton, which is my dream job. And I got my dream job about a year and a half ago. My former boss, Joe Martuccio, retired. I had the honor of being appointed to fill his unexpired term. I'm now running for my first 4-year full term this November. And I'm one of the blessed because I don't have an opponent, which I'm really pleased because it makes me able to just concentrate on my work. And that's what I do. I've been a lawyer since 1985. And I did about 20 years as a county prosecutor and 13 at the law firm.
Thank you.
I go to the prison or something.
But 85 seems like just a short time ago.
Yes.
Tell us about a complex legal issue that you've worked on since you've been a lawyer.
We have a lot, and I would say, just for everyone's knowledge, we have a criminal side, which is our prosecutor section, where we prosecute all misdemeanors and also bind over all felonies. And we have a civil side, where we act as the legal department and the legal representative for all of our relatives. So, on the criminal side, I would say our biggest challenges are some of the state has decriminalized many low-level felonies, which is flooding our court with misdemeanors that used to be felonies and flooding our jail and overcrowding our jail, which is at maximum all the time at 500 or more inmates. And of course, there's no funding that accompanies this wonderful thing that they've done. So that's been very complex, and we're working really hard to find solutions and to work through that. On the civil side, probably one of our bigger things is we are participating in the opioid litigation and have joined Stark County to litigate that. It's fascinating. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Shear. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is William Shear II. I'm your current Canton City Council President. I've been a lifelong resident of Canton my entire life. I was born in 1969 at Alma Hospital, graduated from McKinley High School in 1988. And, when I chose to settle down and raise my family, I chose to raise it right here. After graduating high school from McKinley in 1988, I got accepted into the Iron Workers Apprenticeship Program, which my father and my grandfather were the head of our local union, which I am today. Since that time, I've served in a lot of different positions. In our local union, currently I'm the business manager, financial secretary, and treasurer. Just been a lifelong resident, basically just trying to make a difference.
Well, thank you. Your question is, what exactly does the Kansas City Council President do? And if you feel after you can answer a part of the question in your response to it. What do you define as a well-paying job? First of all, tell me about your job.
So as far as my day job, or
No, your city council job.
so as my city council, as being the city council president right now, I'm in charge of running the council meetings under the Rockford Rule Board. The council president does not have a vote. The only time that the council president would have a vote would be in case of a tie. I've been involved in politics my whole life, and I was the first time candidate when I decided to run in May of this year. And I was very fortunate. The guy that I was running against was a very good friend of mine, a good friend of my family, Joe Martuccio. I will say this about Joe. He will always be a constant gentleman, absolutely. As far as council, I've always wanted to try to make a difference in our community. And when the opportunity came up, Alan Schoen was a dear friend of mine, and probably everybody in this room, that I'm as humble as anybody in the room right now that had a chance to follow in his footsteps and basically try to make a difference in our community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Assn. I am excited to hold the council seat at this point in Ward 2. I hit the ground running on August 1st, and I've just been having a great time ever since. So I'm enjoying what I do because it's a part of what I learned here at Neighborhood Leadership Association. And if you grow up in this leadership group, look what you can do. You can make a difference. I was told that in the training that I took here, and I've taken that information on to help my neighborhoods, my city, and now as a councilwoman.
Okay, thank you. What are your plans for filling more businesses in downtown Canyon?
Well, today was an exciting day because today the minority businesses and Kansas City Chamber of Commerce are working together. And what's the greatest neighborhood area? Ward 2. We're right downtown. We're Centennial Plaza. So having more jobs here and building Centennial Plaza is helping bring jobs to this area. And also the Mahoney Road Corridor project is also partly into, is also bringing people in. And minority businesses are helping people who are already here become better businessmen and find income and support to continue jobs and businesses in all the rest of the city.
Thank you.
Mr. Wyatt, good evening.
Good evening.
Would you please introduce yourself and give us a little biography?
Patrick Wyatt, born and raised in Canton. I worked at Nationwide Insurance for 36 years. I was also a part-time police officer for 24. I still hold a commission with the sheriff as a special deputy. I'm a downtown business owner. For the past 16 years, we own Carpet Inn Coffee Shop. We opened that, my wife and I, Kathy, 16 years ago. Most of the businesses have left downtown Canton. And we believed in Canton as a good opportunity to start a business. And we're lucky to say we're still there 16 years later. And we're just happy to be a part of the downtown and the revitalization. Canton's got a lot of good things on the rise. And I think it's important that you have somebody in the council who understands that on the business level. I also sit on the health board for the last 4 years, so I know a lot of the issues that face our city.
The question I have for you is there a particular portion of the comprehensive plan you intend to focus on? And do you see any potential business growth in Ward 2?
Well, I think if anybody read it, the comprehensive plan specifically states that if the downtown fails, so will the county, not only the city, but the county. So I think we have a strong administration with the mayor and vision to bring the city up, raise the bar. Regardless of what's going to happen in the Hall of Fame, we've got to raise the bar in our city. And I think this administration is doing that. We need councilmen that believe that as well. There's council people that sit there that somewhat don't believe in some of the things that are happening around them. And you need believers. And so other people believe and want to come downtown. So those are the type of things you've got to work on, have that vision. Help those who want to come downtown and do business in Canton to encourage them, not discourage them. So those are the things we've got to look to do and find opportunities for them and make it happen. And you need council people that will do that, that will listen to people and try to help them when you can. And I thank everybody here that's in this room because obviously you do care. You have to participate in neighborhoods, and that's what it's going to take. It's going to take everybody to bring back our civic pride, to raise the bar in the city, make it cleaner, make it safer. It's going to take everybody. It's not just going to take government. It's going to take people. People like you in this room are going to make a difference. I hope you vote for Pat Wyatt on this November 5th for Ward 2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mrs. Gagnon. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
You did.
Okay. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'd be glad to. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Scagley. I'm the current Ward 3 councilman. I've been here in this area my whole life. When I moved from my parents' house, I moved right to where I am now in Ward 3. I love this city. I've been involved in the neighborhood associations for many, many years, as well as many of the candidates that are in office now. I've helped many candidates and been involved in city council for about 15 years before I was elected to the seat I'm in. So, I see myself as a public servant, I'm here to serve you, and I'm glad to be able to do that. It's giving back to the city that most of us really, really love and know can succeed with a little bit of hard work and hard luck.
Thank you. Question for you. Do you think neighborhood associations are important? Why or why not?
I absolutely think neighborhood associations are important. You guys are the backbone of the community. If we don't have citizens involved in what's going on in the city, we're just going to sit here and spin our wheels. We need these associations to be involved, the great discussion that happens, and the great ideas that come from it. We work for you, the people. If the people are never there to tell us what they need or what's going wrong or what needs to change or what issues they may see, none of us know how to make it better if we're not seeing the issues ourselves, and we cannot be everywhere. You people are the eyes and the ears of everybody in city government. That's why your involvement is so important. We all need to hear from every one of you. We fix what problems we have in this city by everyone being involved. And that's why you guys are, each and every one of you are so important.
Thank you.
Ms. Smith, how are you this evening?
I am just fine. How about you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for asking. Tell us about yourself a little bit.
I'm Chris Smith. I'm president of Kansas City Council, 4th Ward. I'm also the majority leader. I've been on city council since 2008. I have 2 sons, 6 grandkids, and 9 great-grandkids, and I am a retired cosmetologist, owner of Chris's Talk of the Town for over 40 years, and I love serving my community.
Okay, I got a question for you. It's kind of convoluted because I'm trying to mix a couple together. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. How will you communicate or touch base with the residents, and especially the bridge between the police and the citizens, because of the high murder rate? The people don't seem to trust the police.
Well, I find that hard to believe. I really wish they would think that they can't trust the police because we collaborate together. In fact, neighborhood associations, we often have policemen to come to discuss things with them and what are their concerns in the community. And I know for sure that our safety director, her door is always open. If there's any concerns, also the chief, if there's any concerns that they would have regards to policemen, they can just come to the administration office, and any questions, any concerns that you have, you can address them to me. I will make sure that you get an answer for them, and our doors are always open.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Ms. Hart. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Okay. Would you please introduce yourself?
My name is Teresa Hart, and I want to thank all of you for showing up on this beautiful fall evening to participate in this presentation. I am a lifelong resident of the city of Canton, and not only the city of Canton, but of Ward 7. I was born and raised in Ward 7. My grade school was early grade school. My high school was Lehman High School. I did leave and go to Ohio State. I returned to Canton and moved right into Ward 7. I raised my family in Ward 7. I have 2 grown sons and 4 grandchildren. I worked at Mercy Medical Center, which is in Ward 7, for 40 years as a clinical microbiologist. I have now retired, and I would like to give back to Ward 7. I'm asking the people who are here from Ward 7 to vote for me.
Thank you. My question for you is, how will you handle complaints made by your ward residents?
Well, the first thing I would do would be to respond immediately to whatever problem that they are having. I would visit them personally, investigate what problem it is that they have, and then if it's something that I cannot personally handle, I will make sure that the proper channel of the city government is notified. I would then follow through by calling and making sure that their problem has been solved.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Barrett, tell us about yourself. I know it's not a first-time place here.
Yeah. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. My name is John Muriel. I am currently the Ward 7 City Councilman. I want to thank all of you guys for not only coming tonight, but being a member of your neighborhood association participating. As a city councilman, I learned very quickly that to be successful at this job, leaning on our neighborhood associations was very crucial to that. They're a great link to be able to find out exactly what's going wrong in different parts of the ward and to get those things resolved. When I ran for office in 2012, I ran because a lot of my friends at the time were graduating college and leaving this area. I wanted to make sure that we were making the city of Canton a place that people would want to move to, not from. Many of you know our population has been declining and we need to rapidly change that. That is even more important this next term. My wife and I are expecting our first child next year. And so I want to make sure that in 18 years, when they're going away to college, that they're going to be coming back here and living in the city of Canton.
Thank you. What progress has been made in carrying out the comprehensive plan? And what investment is being made in and around the Lehman High School? To what end?
So, two parts. The first part, the progress we're making on the comprehensive plan. Many of you have seen the construction going on for Centennial Plaza. Downtown was one of the main core asset areas. And in the downtown portion of the comprehensive plan, Centennial Plaza was a major part of that. So we are carrying out construction. My good friend and councilman from Ward 3 is working very closely with the Altman Hospital on the Altman Village project. Altman is another core asset area. And then we are working with the Hall of Fame to make sure the Hall of Fame Village comes to fruition. On specifically Lehman, we were very fortunate working with the mayor to find a developer that specializes in taking all of the school buildings and turning them into senior living. It's right around a $13 million project and very, very exciting. This year, they were awarded $10 million from the state in a grant to carry on that project. So this is going to be a fix to a major problem in Ward 7 in the Northwest End, and it's going to go from being a problem to being something that we can build around and have that progress spread throughout the Lehman area and further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Bliss. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
I was told to point out that you are bilingual, but I can't say anything in Spanish, so I can't do anything.
Entonces, hi neighbors. Vamos a ver qué podemos hacer. I'm Carl Bliss. I was born in Alton Hospital also. I left Canton at an early age. During grade school, I moved out to Las Vegas, graduated from high school in Las Vegas. I joined the Army, also spent 3 years as a recruiter along the Texas-Mexican border. After the 11 years in the Army, I joined the Border Patrol. And then I would always come back and visit Ohio because my mother was here. And every time I came back, it seemed to get worse. And my mom said, I really want you to come stay in Ohio. I said, oh no, I just can't. Plus it's cold here. And so now that I came back and I got a house and I became the chairman of Maple Parks Neighborhood Association, and I went to Maryland School of Thought, and we have to reach out and do our SWOT report and everything. And I started to meet people, and this is why I'm running for Ward 9, because when I got out, met the people, I didn't want to run for Canton anymore.
Good. My question for you is, what is the number one issue that needs to be addressed in Ward 9, and how would you address it?
Ward 9, it's sad to say, but our number one issue is crime. I've had 2 shootings in my front yard. The young man whose body was thrown out with the 3 gunshot wounds to his back was on the corner where we intended to put Welcome to Maple Parks Neighborhood Association sign that weekend. So obviously that was postponed. I had a shooting when the young man was killed on Roland. The night before that, I had a shooting I live on St. Elmo. And what I would like to do is get communication between our police department and our residents. And we have police officers that come to our meetings, give us our crime stats, and they're not good. And I think what we need to do is build the trust between our police department, our fire department, all of our people who serve us. And we need to have open communications. I'd like to see, law enforcement be out there and get to know the neighborhood to where it's not, oh, here comes the police officer. No, here comes Officer John Smith. Mom, he's here to help us. Instead of, I'd like to see people, instead of running from the police, running to the police. That's what we have definitely in Ward 9. It's like I said, it's a sad thing, but it's the truth. And I think by going out and meeting each other and talking to each other, that we can solve it through communication.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good evening, Mr. Babcock. I trust you're there, but I can't see you. Tell us about yourself a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, neighbors. My name is Jim Babcock, and I have served on council for 8 years. I'm looking to serve 2 more years because I believe that Canton is on the move. Over the last 8 years, we have seen a lot of improvement. We have a booming downtown living. We increased our safety forces to protect the neighborhoods and to keep the citizens in Canton safe. We have torn down over 400 houses because we didn't feel it was proper that someone lived in their houses for 20 years and having one of these houses beside them, all it's doing is bring the value of their property down. So with that said, I'm here to ask you for 2 more years, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Your question is why do you focus on business development and explain how giving tax breaks help?
First of all, tax breaks, competition is very strong out there. So we have to offer something to them. And tax abatement might be one of the negotiating tools that we can offer. I feel if we're not getting anything from them, or anything, if we're getting 25%, it's more than what we receive from nothing. So I'm willing to, the chamber and the administration is trying to do their best, and we have to continue to sell our city to get some of these businesses in the city. And what was that? I'm sorry.
Well, you focused on the tax breaks, and I said, why do you focus on business development?
Right, that's what I'm saying, because I believe if we have a negotiating tool, which is tax abatement, some people disagree, but I think that's a very good negotiating tool.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Mr. Hart. I cannot see you because you're behind this sign. There you are.
If I was 7 foot tall, you wouldn't have that issue. I'm not, so.
Well, I have the same issue, so I feel for you. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Richard Hart. I'm a lifelong City Canton resident. I went to Woodland Grade School, graduated from Lehman High School, left to go to Ohio State where I received my degree in teaching. I came back to Canton as a teacher for orthopedic physically handicapped children in Kansas City schools. I've been a former 10th Ward, 7th Ward, councilman and councilman at large as an independent within the city. I met my wife at Lehman High School. I've raised 2 children, one that does live in the community, the other in Columbus. I have 2 wonderful grandchildren, or 4 wonderful grandchildren.
Thank you. What do you think is more important right now? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts?
I've been a member of Canton Preservation for years, and I'm a believer in rehab. It's the most efficient way to take these old homes. Canton has probably some of the cheapest real estate in the state of Ohio. And where buildings, homes can be saved, they should be, to me, rehab. There's a certain character in the restoration of a building. We live in a house that we are fixing up for the 2nd time. It was built in 1922. My wife and I own homes in downtown Canton. One at 7th in Cleveland was built in 1842. There's just that certain character of a house. And the houses restored
are going to give young families a chance to come into a community, build up equity, and hopefully stay. You know, we look at our population and it has gone down. And there's a reason that people don't want to live in Canton, a perception that it's unsafe, which I don't really believe. But we can do more with increasing numbers on the police department, working with residents, helping them get financing on homes, teaching people how to do, the work, whether it's changing a light switch, things like that they can take ownership in the problem. And that's where it lies, in the people, not raising income tax, raising people's expectations so they move into the city of Canton. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm a home of rehab also. Thank you.
Mr. Smuckler, how are you this evening?
Good.
Glad to hear that. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Bill Smuckler. I was, for those of you that remember, born in the Old Mercy Hospital in Canton, Ohio. Partner's raising his hand, he remembers. Myself, my sister, and my brother own a business in Stark County, a very successful business. And I have a unique perception of Canton City Council because not only do I own a business, and not only have we lived in the city all these years, but I've also held every job in City Council. I've been a board councilman, a councilman at large, council president, majority leader, assistant majority leader, and shut the lights off at night if need be.
Thank you. What do you see as Canton's greatest strength, and why?
Canton's greatest what?
Strength.
Oh, Canton's greatest strength right now is the neighborhoods and the people of the business community coming together for what was the plan that is setting this into motion for the Hall of Fame, owner-occupied housing, police department. We just, for those of you that don't know, 15 officers today were hired, 15 police officers. Things are rounding the corner and things are changing in this community. And when I first came into City Council in 1984, sounds like a book. Downtown was a ghost town. The neighborhoods were deteriorating. And things were moving at a snail's pace to get any better. We're now getting better. We're now in a situation where we're rebuilding, we're reinvesting, not only in the downtown area, not only in the business community, but in the neighborhoods too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Springer. How are you? I'll let you get situated.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It's a little tight up here tonight.
I understand, but you're doing a fine job. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Edward Springer. I've lived in Stark County all my life. I've lived here in Kansas City for 29 years now, and I live up in the Harrison Hills area. Next month, my wife and I, my lovely wife and I will have been married for 33 years. I worked down in Timken for 30 years. Let's see. I proudly served my country for 22 years in the United States Marine Corps and the Ohio Army National Guard. I'm a board member of RG Drake over on Route 30. I come from the trade and craft occupations myself and still gravitate towards that. Let's see. We raised 4 kids, and I've got you all beat so far. We've got 13 grandchildren that love the fact that Grammy and Papa have shuttle service.
Thank you. If you could change one thing about our zoning codes, what would it be and why?
About a zoning code?
Zoning codes for the city.
Actually, I'm going to request a different question because I'm not well versed on zoning codes at this time.
Activate further. Why do you feel there is a lack of communication and transparency from City Council?
Okay, right now is a great time to run for council at large. There's millions of dollars that are going to be spent in a big hurry. We're all familiar with Centennial Plaza, the monies that are going to Centennial Plaza for growth and expansion in the downtown area. What I believe, though, what happened is when that money, when people either read the agenda or look in the newspaper, and let's face it, not everybody gets the newspaper, there was some shock within the neighborhoods of how much money is going to be spent, say, at Centennial Plaza. That's a big chunk of change. I mean, we know, you guys know, as part of those neighborhood associations, you go, hey, wait a minute, we could use some of that also. By putting out better communications, putting out more public dialogue, I think it's important to inform all the citizens, or as many of the citizens as possible, going forward as how we're spending this money. We all want to know where it's going. We all want to see what we're getting for, the bang for the buck, right? And it's important that we do that. As council members, let's make sure that we're doing our due diligence and make sure that we're spending the money the right way for all of us.
Thank you.
Mr. King, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm good, just fine. Introduce yourself, please.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, neighbors. My name is Jeff King, and I'm running for Kansas City Auditor, and I am a proud Harbor Heights resident. I'm a graduate of Central Catholic High School and a graduate of Kent State University, where I have a bachelor's of business administration. During my time in college, I worked my way through working at Fisher's, where I accounted for thousands of dollars in the cash office. Upon graduating from Kent, I got a job at a Fortune 500 company. I am an active parishioner at St. Joseph's Church in Canton. I'm a Life Scout, Boy Scout, and I am a devoted Canton citizen.
Mr. King, the question is, are you going to be able to work with the Democrats that are overwhelming in Canton government? And the writer, I said, don't want to yes or no answer. They want you to elaborate, please.
What was your last part? I didn't quite hear that.
They want to know if you're going to be able to work with the overwhelming number of Democrats in the city government. And will you please elaborate your answer, yes or no?
Yes, I would be able to work with Democrats. I believe that Republicans and Democrats should work together more in our communities. And that's where real action is done when Democrats and Republicans work together in our community. By doing so, I would have monthly meetings with the mayor, city council, the city treasurer, to demonstrate and working together with elected officials of the Democrat background, or the Democrat Party affiliation, I should say. Thank you.
We have a lot of time here, so I'm going to ask you one more if you want to field it.
Go for it.
You say you're well versed in the technologies. Would you tell us what technologies that you are well versed in and how do you think it'll help?
Yeah, so growing up in the technology era, being 23 years old, it has been a huge part of my life. As we know, in colleges, most of our courses are done on the computer. And I want to make sure that we implement that and we have the latest technology in the auditor's office. And one of the latest technology that we can have in the auditor's office is implementing the Ohio Open Checkbook. And this is something that has been going on with our state, and I have personally talked to State Treasurer Sprague about this information. And I believe that Canton, as the 8th largest city in Ohio, deserves to have Ohio Open Checkbook.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Ballard. How are you?
I'm just fine. How are you?
I'm great. Would you please introduce yourself?
Yes. Good evening, neighbors. Good evening. My name is R.A. Mallon, and I'm currently your Canton City Auditor. For the past 16 years, I have served as your Canton City Auditor, and before that, I was a Ward 3 councilman for 8 years in the city of Canton. As auditor, I had the distinct honor and responsibility of monitoring the city's budget, writing checks to pay the city's bills, reporting to city officials and city residents, and serving as the watchdog over their tax dollars. Under my leadership, my office has earned international and national recognition for the past 16 years for the Certificate of Achievement of Excellence in Financial Reporting. This is the highest honor of financial reporting given to the government by the GFOA in Ohio, the United States, and in Canada. I am married to my lovely wife, Jill, for the past 26 years. We have 3 wonderful children, Ashley, age 22, Trey, age 20, and Austin, age 16.
Thank you. If you were elected, what are the 3 steps that you would take to put our city in even firmer financial footing?
Can you repeat that so I didn't hear the end of it?
If you were elected, what would be the 3 steps you would take to put our city on an even firmer financial footing?
Well, I believe that the city is on firm financial grounds now due to the passage of Issue 13, as well as the monitoring of the city's budget through the auditor's office, the mayor's office, and departments. We are doing more with less than we have before, and I think that's a positive thing. I do provide monthly financial reports to council so that they can make timely and accurate decisions. And what was the other portion?
You're answering the question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Burnaby. Mayor Burnaby, how are you this evening? Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Tell us about yourself. Thank you.
Well, hi, neighbors.
Hi, Mayor.
It is my honor to be here tonight. I am Tom Burnaby. I have been the mayor for the last 4 years. I'm running for another 4-year term. I am a lifelong resident also of Canton, Ohio, as with Mr. Smuggler. I think I beat him to the hospital, but I was born at Timken Hospital also. Born in Market Heights, and in 73 years of my life, I moved approximately 7.5 blocks to the north to Market Hills Association. I was formerly a president of Market Hills Association. I thank all of you for being here tonight. Our neighborhoods are critical. You are the heartbeat of our city. I appreciate the commitment, and I try to go to as many neighborhood meetings as I can because of your commitment. I am very committed to the city. I love this city. Again, I was born here, I was raised here, and I will in all probability die here, but I hope not too soon.
And we wish the same. What strategies will you seek to incorporate to improve housing options for low to moderate income families? There seems to be a lot of investment toward business development, but what are your plans to make Canton a desirable place to raise a family?
We have recently adopted, again, it was proffered by the administration, adopted by City Council, and it has been approved by the Ohio Department of Development. And that is a community reinvestment area which creates tax abatement for residential housing in all of the city of Canton. All residential housing going forward from this date qualifies for residential tax abatement. That tax abatement is 100% for 15 years. Anyone building a new house in the city of Canton, in any neighborhood, will receive 100% tax abatement for 15 years. Also, anyone making any qualifying improvements to their home in the amount of $5,000 or more are entitled to receive tax abatement on that also in the amount of 100% for 15 years. So this is a program that was only adopted by City Council about 60 days ago. Again, it requires approval of the state of Ohio. The state of Ohio has approved our program. It's a similar program that was adopted in Cleveland and in Akron, and it's been very successful in both of those cities in spurring residential development. And we're very, very optimistic that we'll do the same in Canton.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody who is sitting on the dais and our community behind us. Benjamin Franklin, when leaving the Constitutional Congress, was asked, "What have you wrought?" And he said, "A republic, ma'am, if you can keep it." Thank you for helping us.
Okay, now for those of you who come to Stark Community Foundation, you know we have this little raise the roof tradition. You can all do better than that, so let's hear it for all of these things. That's better. And as has been pointed out earlier, it's a lovely evening, a lovely fall evening. But each of you took the time out of your busy schedule to come and listen to the candidates. And we at Stark Community Foundation appreciate that. We have had our chats. We've presented a few of our neighborhood associations. And now we want to encourage each and every one of you to vote. Please get out and vote. There's an old saying, if you don't vote, you don't count. Now, if you think about that, if you don't vote, whatever the issue is, whomever the candidate is, you don't count if you don't make it to that ballot box. So please, I encourage you to get out and vote. We have refreshments in the back of the room. Please help yourselves. Stay, chat, mingle. And again, on behalf of the Stark Community Foundation, thank you so very much for joining us this evening. We are adjourned.